Shane van Gisbergen left Martinsville Speedway frustrated, and his own words say it best: "That pisses me off running top 10 and missing it." That single sentence captures everything about where SVG is right now in his 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season: talented enough to run with the best, competitive enough to put himself in position to finish inside the top 10, and demanding enough of himself that an 11th place finish after leading laps and collecting stage points still felt like a missed opportunity. The question worth asking is this: how does a driver qualify 5th, run as high as 2nd, score stage points in both stages, and still walk away from the track genuinely disappointed? The answer to that question tells you exactly how seriously Shane van Gisbergen is now being taken inside the NASCAR garage. Start with qualifying, because the qualifying story alone is worth examining carefully. Just 1 year ago at this same track, SVG started 22nd. This weekend, he put his Superfile Chevrolet 5th on the grid, his best oval qualifying result in the entire Cup Series. The number means more when you understand the context around it. In practice, his speed placed him 34th fastest, which gave no indication whatsoever of what was about to happen when the qualifying laps began. When it counted, he was just 64 thousandths of a second off Denny Hamlin's pole time. Hamlin grabbed his 49th career pole and his 5th at Martinsville. William Byron qualified 2nd, Josh Berry 3rd, Ty Gibbs 4th, and SVG 5th, sitting ahead of both of his own TrackHouse Racing teammates, with Ross Chastain qualifying 18th and Zane Zilisch qualifying 25th. The reason that qualifying lap deserves extra attention goes beyond the number itself. SVG had been actively working on switching from right foot to left foot braking on ovals, a technical adjustment that demands serious repetition and timing to get right. At Martinsville specifically, where the braking demands are among the most intense on the entire schedule because of how frequently drivers downshift through the tight corners, he physically placed extra spacing between his pedals so that he could not fall back into old habits. He talked openly about how much timing and repetition the transition requires, and then he went out and posted a top 5 qualifying lap in the middle of that adjustment process. That is a concrete demonstration of how quickly his raw talent is converting into results on tracks that are entirely different from anything he raced on before arriving in NASCAR. The race itself unfolded in layers. In Stage 1, SVG settled into 6th from the green flag and ran there comfortably while Hamlin controlled the front. Hamlin led the first 38 laps, briefly lost the lead to Byron behind a lapped car, and then reclaimed it immediately. The stage ended under caution when Cody Ware spun off John Hunter Nemechek's bumper on lap 77. Hamlin won the stage, and SVG came home 6th, his first batch of stage points on the board. In Stage 2, he reported that the car was decent but beginning to lose grip on corner exit. A caution on lap 105, AJ Allmendinger spinning Noah Gragson, reshuffled the running order. Hamlin swept both stages. SVG finished 8th in Stage 2 and walked away with 8 bonus points across the 2 stages combined. Those 8 points are not dramatic on their own, but they represent exactly the kind of quiet, consistent accumulation that a driver in his position needs on oval tracks where he is still developing. The race's most significant moment for SVG came in Stage 3 when crew chief Stephen Doran made a bold strategic call. They went for the undercut, pitting early on lap 268. Chase Elliott had made a similar call on lap 261. Once the entire pit cycle was completed, SVG had jumped all the way up to 2nd place, sitting directly behind Elliott and ahead of Hamlin. The number 97 car was genuinely in win contention at that point in the race. The downside to the undercut strategy is well understood: early pitters run on older tires while cars that stayed out longer come through the field with fresher rubber. That is exactly what happened, and SVG began losing positions as fresher cars came at him. Then the race went into chaos. A debris caution flew on lap 312, and Elliott, running 2nd at that point, pitted under caution, a completely free stop that cost him nothing in track position. That was a massive swing for the number 9 team. The race restarted on lap 324, and within moments a significant incident unfolded. Bubba Wallace drove into the back of Carson Hocevar, triggering a 12-car crash that collected Zane Smith as well. Wallace destroyed his car and was credited with a 36th place finish, which dropped him from 3rd all the way to 11th in the driver standings in a single afternoon. SVG came through the chaos, took fresh tires, and lined up 9th for the restart, positioned well on paper for a top 10 finish. What happened on the restarts is the honest part of SVG's race story, and he told it without filters. Every single restart, he struggled. He got pinched on the outside lane, dropped 1 or 2 positions each time, and could not recover them quickly enough before the next caution flew. He did manage to pass teammate Chastain near the end, but he could not push his way inside the top 10. He crossed the line 11th. Over team radio immediately after the checkered flag, "Good job guys. Sorry I couldn't hold on to the top 10. After the race, he explained what went wrong directly. The restarts were the problem. He was able to chase down the cars that passed him once green flag racing resumed, but the actual launch off the restart was where he lost out each time. He acknowledged it, identified it specifically, and moved on. The self-awareness to pinpoint exactly what went wrong and own it is what separates drivers who improve from drivers who repeat the same issues. While SVG was working through restarts at the back of the top 10, the front of the race produced one of the more dramatic finishes of the 2026 season so far. Chase Elliott held off Denny Hamlin by just over half a second at the line to take the win. It was Chevrolet's first win of the 2026 season and Hendrick Motorsport's 31st win at Martinsville, more than any other team at any single track in Cup Series history. The win also came 11 years to the day from Elliott's very first Cup Series start, which also happened at Martinsville. Those are the kinds of coincidences that make individual race wins feel like something more than just results. The Hamlin storyline from that same race is genuinely one of the more painful losses seen at any track in recent memory. Hamlin led 292 of 400 laps. He won both stages. He set the fastest lap of the race. He looked completely dominant for the majority of the afternoon. Then a missed shift on a late restart and a potential loose left rear wheel cost him the victory. His crew chief called it a gut punch. The stat that captures the absurdity of how NASCAR's points system can work: Hamlin actually scored more total points than Elliott, 56 to 55, because he swept stages and earned the fastest lap bonus while Elliott collected 0 stage points. Hamlin won the day on points. He still lost the race. That is NASCAR in one sentence. The outside perspective on SVG's performance at Martinsville matters because it adds weight to what the numbers already show. Jeff Gluck on the Teardown podcast said SVG was the best driver in non-Big 3 equipment for the entire race, better than the 2311 cars, better than the Spire cars. That is a significant statement given the resources and personnel those programs carry. Jordan Bianca pointed to the larger strategic picture for SVG's season: oval days like Martinsville, where he collects top 15 finishes and stage points, are exactly what he needs to stay in position. Then when the road courses arrive, he can maximize. SVG enters 2026 with 6 straight road course wins heading into the season. That combination, steady oval points accumulation plus dominant road course performances, is a credible path to the playoffs. Bianca also noted something that speaks to SVG's standing inside the garage at this point. Other Cup Series drivers are watching him. They are, in his words, in awe of what SVG is doing on the learning curve, getting better at a rate that is making people inside the sport uncomfortable. That is not a casual observation. That is drivers who have competed at this level for years acknowledging that someone is developing faster than the normal pace. The full picture of SVG's Martinsville history gives the 2026 result proper context. His 4 starts at the track produced finishes of 12th in 2024, 31st, 14th last fall, and 11th now. Consistent, measurable upward movement at one of the most demanding short tracks on the schedule. His points total after Martinsville sits at 174, placing him 14th in the standings and 16 points above the cutoff for the top 16. With NASCAR bringing back the chase format for 2026, every bonus point earned in a stage has direct implications for playoff positioning. 8 stage points on an oval is not something SVG was producing in the early stages of his Cup career. He is learning the points system, using it, and positioning himself accordingly. It is also worth stating plainly what his result means in the context of TrackHouse Racing as a whole. Ross Chastain, who had 3 straight top 10 finishes at Martinsville heading into this race and is well known for his 2022 wall ride at this very track, finished 16th, rookie Zane Zilisch finished 26th. The team as a unit struggled for speed across the board. SVG is extracting results from equipment that the raw numbers suggest should not be finishing where he is finishing. That is a driver outperforming the car, which is exactly the kind of signal that generates attention inside the sport. Bristol Motor Speedway on April 12 is next on the schedule after the Easter weekend break, another short track, another direct test of how far this progression has come. The NASCAR world is paying attention to Shane Van Gisbergen in a way that is no longer about novelty or curiosity. Insiders are saying it directly. Other drivers are acknowledging it. The number 97 is no longer a road course specialist waiting for the right weekends on the calendar. He is 14th in the championship standings, inside the playoff cut line, with 19 races remaining and 6 consecutive road course wins in his recent history. The championship conversation around Shane van Gisbergen is no longer a stretch, it is a legitimate topic supported by concrete results. If this breakdown gave you the full picture of what happened at Martinsville, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more NASCAR fans who want real analysis rather than surface-level recaps. And if you want weekly NASCAR news, race analysis, and the real conversations happening around the sport every single week, subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report. We cover every race, every storyline, every development. We will see you at Bristol.